What's up, can't believers? It's your boy Daniel, just checking in before the episode even gets going to just ask you to cast your minds back a couple of weeks ago now. If you listened to our Man of Steel episode, you might recall towards the end of that episode my microphone stopped working and I had to boost the audio on other Daniel's end so that you could hear me properly. Well, imagine that, but for like a whole episode. It would be awful, right? Sorry, guys. Enjoy.
Hello, welcome back to Can't Believe You Haven't Seen, a podcast where two friends introduce each other to something new, whether it be a film, a TV show, or anything like that, really. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Daniel.
And this week, I can't believe you haven't seen Parasite.
Well, and I have.
I feel like we need to start thinking of some more responses. Because every week the other person's just like, well. Yeah, so this film came out last year.
Yeah, won Best Picture.
Yes.
In the Oscars.
It won 4 Oscars. The first ever international film to win Best Picture, so that's pretty...
Must be good.
Yeah, I think it resonated with a lot of people, me especially. It's definitely in my top 10 films, or almost my top 10 favourite films of all time.
Top 20, if you will.
Yeah, let's put it there. So what did you think, first of all? First impressions?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Strong reaction.
I enjoyed it. I think it was a fun film to watch.
Fun. Okay.
I don't know what it's supposed to be in terms of genre, but I definitely saw it as more of a comedy than anything else.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm assuming that it's not meant to be.
Well, there's certainly comedic elements, you can't deny that.
Yeah. I think especially the first half of the film is before, shit gets real.
That's interesting. Interesting take. But room for improvement, you think, as well, then? Sounds like?
Not room for improvement. I don't know how I would improve it or what could be improved. I thought it was perfectly enjoyable. I don't personally believe it's Best Picture worthy. I don't know what it was up against in 2019. Maybe you could open my eyes.
Let's see. 2019 feels so long ago. Joker.
Well, there you go.
You think Joker's better?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I would, yeah. So the nominees: Bohemian Rhapsody, Black Klansman, A Star.
You want to look for Oscars 2020?
Yes, 2020. Yeah. 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Little Women, Ford vs. Ferrari, Parasite, Jojo Rabbit, Marriage Story, The Irishman, Jokerman. Joker. Some very good films there.
Some strong competition. I forgot. Last year was a really good year for films.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... I mean, quite a few of those I would have been happy with Best Picture, but I think it was, perfectly worthy.
I think it deserves the nomination, but I don't think it deserves the win.
What would you have chosen out of those?
I enjoyed Jojo Rabbit the most out of those, but it's a comedy. Comedies can't win Best Picture. So, maybe, Jokerman.
Well, let's just take it from the top.
Okay.
The film opens.
Yeah, I thought that was a bold move to open the film.
And the first camera movement is a descent downwards.
Certainly is.
Which
from the street
is important, I think, because there's a lot of imagery in this film. It's all about classism.
Mm-hmm.
Your ups, your downs. There's a lot of imagery.
I didn't really think about
moving upwards and downwards in this film, and it makes point of that straight away.
They're below street level.
Exactly. And they're all, especially because you spend quite a bit of time in the first 15 minutes or so in their house, and they're just always looking up out of that window. It's always framed as in like you're just sort of below, like you almost feel yourself kind of peering out of it, like standing on your tippy toes and just trying, like the way it's framed is really effective, I think, because you're looking as those characters are sort of upwards and outwards.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, I do agree.
So
It's quite smart.
And that translates even when they're outside. I made a note of when, and I'm going to struggle with most of the characters' names in this. I can't
remember a single one. So
I'm just going to call him Kevin because that was his English name. I don't know what the deal with all that was. That must be a Korean thing that I'm not familiar with. I don't know why they've got English names and Korean names, but Kevin, the boy.
I'm going to open a list of names.
Well, Kevin, the son, is...
These are all Korean names.
Yeah, the son, that scene where he's talking with his college friend.
Yeah.
There's a street leading upwards, and it's all that kind of idea is always there, that you could, especially at the beginning where you're with them, where they actually live, you can always see that there's a way up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all throughout the movie, so that's just a strong idea and theme that is very prevalent.
And even with the nice house, there's loads of stairs. They're on a hill, and there's loads of stairs to get up there as well, which I hadn't noticed, but yeah, good job on that. So when he's talking to his friend, I noted that it's pretty crazy that they mention Oxford University. So I was like, what, they know about Oxford University in Korea? Well, no, they don't, because that was actually changed.
Oh.
It's not actually what they say, it's just what the subtitles say. They say Seoul National University.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is actually in Korea.
Yeah.
Bit of localization for you then. I wonder if on an American copy then, it probably says Harvard.
Probably.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, they don't normally change stuff like that, I wouldn't think.
There's a few rare cases. I think Disney does it quite a bit with their films, but...
I've never noticed it before, because I did think it was weird. I was kind of proud for a second. I was like, yeah, Oxford.
Yeah, that's just... Localization is a funny thing. This is a bit of a tangent, but there's a few foreign films that I've watched where, obviously, it's been translated and they've done the subtitles, but they've really overdone the Englishness of the subtitles.
Yeah.
So it's been localized for here, and then the characters are all saying things like, oh, bugger, and I'm like, they're not saying that. But according to the subtitles, they are.
Yeah.
So I think this film didn't really do that, apart from that, obviously. But that it didn't really stand out to me as... I just thought they were talking about Oxford. But
apparently the director thought it wouldn't hit the same if the viewers didn't know that university. But, yeah.
I think straight away you sort of sympathise with these people. You know that obviously they're having a bit of a tough time. They've got that pizza box folding job.
Didn't know that was a job.
Got to make your money somehow.
True.
But they are clearly not good people.
No.
No.
I like that. I don't want to skip ahead, but I'm gonna. I like that they are pretty fucked up, but the rich people aren't at all.
Yeah, well, we will get to them.
Okay, that's just pretty basic observation I made, but yeah.
And so they get Kevin is offered this opportunity by his friend for the sole reason that he thinks he won't try and sleep with this girl.
Yeah, messed that one up.
Of teaching English to the daughter of this rich family. I really like when he goes to the house for the first time, because as he's walking there, he's going up and up and up, and then he finally reaches the house. But it's not clear what it is the first time, because it's just this grey wall.
Yeah.
And he rings the doorbell and he's let in, and when the door opens for the first time, all you can see is kind of the greyness of the wall and the wooden door, and it's this big heavy door, and then when it opens, you just have this view all of a sudden of the green in the garden.
Yeah.
It's opening to a completely different world to what he is obviously used to. And then he goes in and you see the lovely big garden, the big house, and it's just... I think it's a really good way of just illustrating that this is completely unfamiliar territory to obviously what he's used to.
Yeah, I don't think you'd seen any wildlife, well, not wildlife, natural stuff before that. So yeah, I didn't pick up on that, but yeah. At what point did you realise that the film was called Parasite because of them being parasites? Because when I realised, I was like, wow, I'm clever.
I thought you were just going to stop there and saying, at what point did I realise it was called Parasite? That would be in the opening credits.
Yeah.
I do remember when I first watched it having this sort of thrill, kind of, or like this kind of excitement when I kind of I realised what was going on.
Yeah.
Because it didn't hit me. I mean, we're skipping forward a bit, but it didn't hit me. I think on the first time I watched it until they bring in the dad, Mr. Kim, as the driver, where it suddenly clicked for me, and I was like, oh, they're like infiltrating this house, basically, all of them.
Yeah.
And,
I thought it was pretty cool.
And I guess that would be the point where I was like, this is
clever title.
The Parasite.
Yeah.
Of it. So that's all really good, but we'll get on to that.
Okay.
So Kevin, I made a note of this. This is the whole thing to do with English and Korean names. The mom introduces him. I think she's just introducing him to the housekeeper, and she says, "Oh, housekeeper, this is we'll call him Kevin." It was just strange. I wonder what's going on there. There must, because there's a lot of talk as well. I think to make themselves seem, don't know what the word would be, but like better, to give themselves a sort of
superior.
There's a lot of talk about that they've spent time in America.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's where the English names come from. Like maybe if they want to actually go there, they'd probably introduce themselves as English names just to
make it easier.
So maybe that's what it is.
Dumb English people.
Yeah. But it kind of stands out to me, that first lesson that Kevin does with the girl, where the mom sits in for it, where he probably teaches English quite well, but this becomes evident for all of them, is that they're all so good at bullshitting. Like, he does that thing where, like, he grabs her hand and he grabs, like, the girl's hand.
Yeah.
He's like, your pulse is racing and the exam is about this and you got to do that. And, like, it all sounds like something, but he's really not saying anything.
No.
He starts going on about how an exam is, like, cutting through a jungle and like, he's just going on about, and, like, they all do that kind of thing, but, like, it just...
He had me convinced, to be fair.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is good.
And, like, you see the reaction from the mom. She's like, oh, and then especially when...
Did we actually see him speak any English to her at any point?
No, I don't think so.
So maybe he literally didn't teach her English.
It's quite strange when they do, because they use a couple of English phrases throughout the film.
Yeah, oddly placed, I felt.
I think maybe it might just be that there might not be a Korean equivalent for whatever it was that they said, so they just... Because, I mean,
well,
we'll use phrases from French and stuff, won't we?
True. But I always hate in films how they transition randomly to a different language or from a different language. Like, they're speaking Korean, they're having a Korean conversation, and then someone will, like, start speaking in English for no reason.
You hate that.
I hate that. No, it's just weird to me. That doesn't happen in real life.
Well, it probably does over there.
Maybe.
Because in other countries, they're more likely to be speaking a different language, aren't they? Like, obviously. I mean, speaking the two languages. Over here, nobody gives a shit. Like,
true, we're all selfish.
Yeah. But I think if you're in a country where people do learn, I think especially English, I think people do tend to switch between them.
Okay, fair enough. That's just not something I've ever experienced, so it always seems weird to me.
Well, glad I could learn you something new.
Thank you. I'm glad you're glad. These people were stupidly gullible.
Yeah.
Like, kind of unrealistically so. They didn't question anything. And you think they'd put two and two together, like, they've had this the housemaid there for, like, before they were even there.
Yeah.
And she's been perfectly trustable and fine. You'd think that they would confront her and be like, hey, is there something you want to tell us?
Yeah.
Instead of just...
I see that as a criticism. It's definitely the kind of thing you kind of just gotta buy into it. I think they do make a point of saying that the mom is, like, very simple and just, she's so naive and she's got all this money, like, she doesn't have a care in the world, like, her head's in the clouds.
I feel like even with that, she seemed like the kind of person that would at least say, like, what's up? Did we find out what the excuse was for letting the housemaid go?
The excuse that she...
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, I'll make something up."
I don't think so.
Because I'm surprised the housemaid didn't put up like a fuss about it.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Put up a fuss. She's been working there like 15 years or whatever, and then she gets this bullshit excuse, and she's just like, "Oh, okay."
Especially when
Fair
you've
enough.
got a husband down in the basement.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah. But we... So then Kevin brings his sister on board.
Yes.
And I like her a lot. She's probably my favourite character.
The art teacher, or really?
Yeah.
You like her?
I just thought she was badass. She was like really good at just committing to this.
She was, but that made me not like her. Because she wasn't being badass in like a good way, she was being badass in a bad way.
I know. I mean, it's not good. You know, they're
I really hated her. She got on my nerves.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I felt bad for the people, and she was going for it the most, and I was like, come on, man. Come on, woman. Give it a break.
But and then obviously they bring the dad on board.
Mm-hmm.
And it stood out to me, especially when the dad gets hired and they start talking about...
The dad gets what?
Hired.
Okay.
What did I say?
I thought you said hard, but...
when he's driving the...
Oh, before that,
Go on.
can I just say how messed up that is that she left her underwear in his car
No,
to get him hired? I just thought that made me hate her even more.
Yeah.
Because that's like... And then they thought she was drugged up, the girl. So they thought he was like... had assaulted a girl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
That's something that can ruin his life.
And I think they probably... I mean, it doesn't make them any better people, but I think they probably are quite concerned about that, because when they're staying all in the house together, because the others have gone camping,
Yeah.
they do have a moment where they start talking, and the dad is like, "Oh, I'm sure he moved on to a better job." So I think they are trying to like justify it to themselves in their heads. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make them any better, but
They don't really care that much, otherwise they would have checked, or I don't know.
it's all about desperation, isn't it? Really, I don't think it's not that. I mean, obviously there is a degree of not caring, but I think it's just you got to do what's gonna.
But that
when you live in-
the sister took it to another level. She made it personal.
Make it personal. But anyway, it stood out to me when the dad got hired and he's driving around the other dad for the first time. That obviously he's a very good driver,
Sure,
and
I guess.
but all of the members of this family are all incredibly intelligent and talented in their own sort of way. I mean, they're not using their talents for good.
No,
But
absolutely
it's
not.
clear that they're all very good, and obviously the mother of the main family. We really need to get exactly names of the
rich mother,
the poor mother.
the poor mother. Okay.
The poor mother. Obviously, she had some sort of history as a sports person. Hammer thrower. Yeah, she did.
Okay.
That was her
Did she?
medal that was in the house.
Oh, okay, right, sure.
And then there's because the first time
Somehow
I
missed
watched it, I
that.
thought it was the dad, but it's actually the mother, because then she's like throwing hammers in the garden.
I don't remember that at all.
It's only like a quick moment.
Okay.
But anyway, so obviously they're all very intelligent and talented.
You think that would... Sorry.
Sorry, go on.
Well, without spoiling the ending, would have been cool if that came into it somehow. She like threw like a hammer at someone. Maybe that's a deleted scene. Who knows?
But yeah, obviously they're all very intelligent and talented people, but they have absolutely nothing. Whereas you've got these rich folks, especially the rich mother.
Yeah.
She's always going on about how she can't do anything, she can't cook, she can't,
How did they get rich? Is that ever
It
explained?
must just be whatever the man does for a
And
living.
that's not explained either, what he does.
Well, it's alluded to, isn't it? He's like in some sort of tech company.
Always a tech company.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously there's that contrast as well, where these rich people seemingly don't really do anything and have no discernible talents, and yet they don't do anything, and yet they live this life of luxury, and yet these people, even though they're not doing very nice things, they're like working their asses off and they get absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but there's sad reality in that, really.
Yeah. And I think that's the point. One of the points the film is trying to make.
Yeah. I see that.
I really like the montage where the whole kind of plan is coming, where the whole plan is coming together.
Yeah, I agree.
They get the woman with the peaches. They are rehearsing their lines.
That felt really cool.
I really like that bit.
I really enjoyed that. Felt like even though they were being dicks, it was cool dickery. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. Did you have particularly strong feelings about that?
No.
Okay. Well,
going off what you said earlier about the wealthy mother being too gullible.
Yeah.
Even though she definitely is. I like that they kind of go around that when it comes to their lie about how they get their mother hired. They don't just do the thing again where it's like, oh, and my cousin's brother's girlfriend is a person. They make up this whole like membership service.
Yeah.
Which, I just thought was a cool touch that they don't do the exact same thing again. Did that?
Well, I thought it made sense that they fell for that because I don't know if the man ever found out that the sister was recommended. Did he?
He probably doesn't.
Because they didn't seem to speak that much.
No.
So I feel like he wouldn't have known. And then the guy said not to... the poor dad said to the rich dad not to say to the rich mother that the poor dad suggested this company. So...
the poor mother.
Yeah. So that made sense that I thought of that, I thought.
Did that go any way to sort of making up for the fact that the woman was so gullible to you? Or?
I mean, it didn't make it worse.
No?
Yeah. The woman phoned the thingy, didn't she? She phoned the number. But she didn't recognise the voice of the girl.
No, which is something I did think. I was like... Especially because I feel like you would, because that girl's voice is quite... and again, I really liked her, but it was quite like monotone, the way she spoke.
Yeah.
And she didn't really put on a voice or anything for the phone call, so...
Not really.
That's quite odd, but
that just adds to the gullibility of this poor woman. And I would have thought that she would have got the housemaid to do it as well. But maybe that's just like
They hadn't hired one yet.
That's completely true. Yeah.
In fact, and she might not have recognised the girl's voice because while she's on the phone, she's trying to do all these different things at once as well.
Yeah.
So,
she's not paying that much attention to the call.
No. So they're all in. They've all made it into this house. They've successfully parasited.
Sure.
And they are making a good bit of money, I would think. Well, they are, I say so.
Yeah.
But they never have anything to show for it. Other than they always seem to be eating.
Well, I feel like that ties into one of the points I wrote at the end. I said, how TF did they get all the money so quick to buy the house? Because they buy the rich people's house. So,
Or do they?
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay. I'm pretty sure they do, but maybe they'd been just saving the money and then they use it to buy the house at the end. Maybe that was their long-term... Well, I think that was their long-term goal. So maybe they had planned for that. They were just saving the money away, living in the small house, just,
well, yeah,
making do.
It could very well be...
It could very well be.
It could very well be that they were saving it, but I think it's interesting that the film never explicitly shows you that they're making steps to be saving money or doing anything worthwhile with it. It always just seems like that they're just tucking in. They're like always, and it always seems to be scenes where they're celebrating the fact that they've pulled this off and that they're getting all this money, but they're just eating and getting drunk. And it's like...
Or maybe it's to make you wonder about where the money's going, and then at the end, when they reveal that, you're supposed to be like, oh yeah,
could be.
I guess that's where the money went.
Or I think it could also be saying, maybe this is why they're, poor.
Because they just waste it.
Because, yeah, I mean, they could have money, but, I mean, what are they doing with it? They're just wasting it on... They're just being greedy.
Well, yeah.
So, it makes you think.
Yeah.
So, what was going through your head when the old housekeeper comes back? Did you have any theories immediately?
Yes. Well, not immediately, but when she went into the basement and she pulled back the Well, it doesn't matter.
Shelf.
Yeah, shelf. I was thinking they were going to pull a twist and that the rich mother and father had been keeping someone down there for some reason. So I thought this was where... Because I had been thinking, like, you're ripping off these people, but they've not done anything wrong, so who are we supposed to, like, sympathise with? So I thought they were going to make the rich people have done something wrong so that we then,
Don't feel quite as bad for them.
Yeah, so we can justify it. But then, obviously, that wasn't the case.
No.
And I was like, wow, goddamn.
I really like it just when that whole bit kicks off and the woman comes back, and so you're a bit on edge because what is she doing? She has that really creepy like turn back. At one point she's like, would you like to come with me? It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then I think that bit where they finally move that shelf and get that door open, and then the camera takes you in down those stairs and like through that corridor. It's a real like what the fuck moment, I feel. Because especially when I first watched it, I mean it was still effective this time when I watched it as well, but especially the first time, I remember just thinking, oh my god, what's down here? What the hell are we going to find? You know, and all these thoughts were like rushing through my head. I was like, is this about to get like really weird? Is it about to like almost become, you know, something
a horror movie,
supernatural? Like what's going on? And so to a certain extent, I kind of was then quite underwhelmed when I was just like, oh, really? The guy. I mean, that soon goes away because I do love this film, but I really was invested in that moment the first time, and I was just like, what on earth is about to happen?
Well, I feel like it kind of makes sense, though. I didn't feel let down. I felt it was more of like
I don't think it's bad. I think I hyped myself up a bit too much.
Yeah. Well, the rich father literally says she eats enough for 2 people at one point, doesn't he?
Oh, he does say that.
Yeah. Which I was like, oh my god, putting all these pieces together, it all makes sense. But then she said she didn't steal food from them for the guy. So. Oh. Yeah. I mean, maybe the rich father just saw her buying loads of extra food.
Because I think did she live at the house with them?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he must have just seen. It's strange that they wouldn't allow her to eat their food.
I don't know if it was a case of not allowing her. I think it was...
Just never felt comfortable.
No, I think from what I understood, she ate their food and then she bought extra for him. Yeah. So then the father saw that as her buying extra for herself.
So yeah, anyway, what was your reaction to this guy living down there? What do you think of that?
I thought it made sense. At the same time, it didn't make sense because I'm just trying to, think about it from the other way. She's this rich. Well, no, she's not rich, but the housemaid is working for really rich people. You would think she's getting paid a decent amount, and yet it's not enough to get him at least like a tiny house somewhere with some decent food.
I think the reason for that, and I missed this a bit, but they said something about loan sharks.
Oh yeah, so and they wanted to kill him.
He owes people money, which, I mean, building off what you said, I would have thought he'd be able to pay them off if she's getting paid a handsome amount of money. But
maybe she wasn't.
Well, yeah. But obviously people are after him, so that's why he can't.
That makes sense.
He was weird, though.
He was.
Yeah. But I guess you would be.
Yeah, the whole thing about him banging the light switch to say thank you was very odd. He knew that surely he knew that the rich father didn't know he was down there.
Oh, yeah.
So why is he saying thank you? There's nothing to be thankful.
Be respectful that he's living in this guy's house. I think
rich guy.
A touch of madness, I think, because obviously he's going stir crazy down there.
I guess.
I mean, maybe it's a thing about trying to say something about maybe the poor idolising the rich.
Yeah, he did kind of idolise him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had magazine cutouts of him on the wall.
Yeah.
So, bit of madness.
Bit much.
He's obviously just going crazy down there, but also maybe that's something to be said about how people view people from the bottom, view the people on the top.
Well, yeah,
And similarly, unless you, sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I would say we probably relate with that. Not that we're like at the bottom, but we idolise the, Jeff Bezos of the world.
The who?
The Bill Gates of the world.
Bill Gates.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, this dude, he has all the money. I want to be him.
Well, yeah. And then similarly, on the other side of that coin,
Sure.
there's that scene where that husband and wife begin to have sexual intercourse.
Oh.
And obviously they are sort of fetishizing being poor.
Yeah.
There's that kind of cringe bit where she's saying, "Buy me drugs." Buy me drugs.
So the father obviously was listening to that.
Yeah.
And the rich father said he was imagining the rich mother in the poor sister's pants, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, that'd be hot," or whatever.
I think he said, "If you put those on, I'll get really fucking hard."
Oh yeah, okay. So was that the point where the poor father was like, "Fuck these people"? Because so at the end he goes kind of ape shit, and I didn't feel like it really made sense.
That's interesting because that's a part I really loved.
Well, I love it, but it didn't make sense with the father.
I think it does kind of. I don't think that bit specifically what you're saying about the pants.
Because that's like him. This guy is fantasizing about his daughter right in front of him.
Well,
and that would be enough to make anyone mad.
I know that he's doing that though.
Yeah, but
they also don't think that it was her pants.
Yeah, but
so there's a lot of layers there.
I know,
but I don't think
the poor guy knows that.
I think what you're saying is correct, but not for the right reason.
Okay.
I don't think that was the issue, but in the same moment they do start. I think might be the first time they bring up the fact that he has a certain smell about him.
Oh yeah, that pissed him off.
Where he starts to get a bit. I mean, like he puts his arm over his eyes, or in fact, I think he just closes his eyes. So obviously that upsets him because he's just saying that he stinks.
Yeah.
And then that gets brought up a few.
I think that landed wrong for me. Because when I was watching that, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
No, that was quite...
Yeah.
He was clearly quite upset by that.
Because I watched this with my family and I was the only one who laughed then. And I was like, am I not supposed to be laughing?
But then that's the thing at the very end, which I really like, that kind of drives him. Because I'm not a huge fan of the ending, I think. But that particular moment where the crazy guy finally gets stabbed with like that skewer, and then the rich dad has to move his body to get the keys from under him.
Yeah.
And he like holds his nose because he's like, this guy fucking stinks. And then obviously Mr. Kim sees that, and obviously he like needs to get to the hospital because his son is having a seizure, but he takes the moment to still turn his nose up at these people that are beneath him, and I think that's what makes Kim just like snap for a second. It's like, fuck you.
It's not enough to kill someone over.
It's no.
You think we're stinky?
But I think it's about more than that, isn't it? It's not the literal.
I know.
It's the metaphorical. Like, just.
He didn't do anything that wrong, though. I don't think.
It's not. It's not necessarily that it's wrong. I think it's the feeling of being so dismissed, like having somebody turn their nose up at you because you're beneath them, you're less than them, you stink,
But contrary to that, that dude just murdered people at the party.
Oh, yeah.
So he's turning his nose up at the murderer, not like the fact that he's poor. I don't think.
No. Because I think it's just that moment where obviously he's not literally thinking like, God, this poor person, but obviously he like smells him, he like holds his nose, and I think Mr. Kim is just thinking that like, my God, like your son is having a seizure, there's all this stuff going on, you need to like desperately get to the hospital, like this horrible thing is happening, but you still have taken even if you didn't think about it, it's like you've still taken the time to have a moment where you're like, God, this person, like,
yeah,
he stinks, and I need to hold my nose and like
make a point out of it.
About it. It's like, it's just, you get me?
I do, but I still disagree.
Okay, well,
I don't think it was. Obviously, murder's never right, but I don't feel like for that character it was just like it made sense for him to do that. Or for me, what made more sense was the thing about the daughter, hearing him fantasize about, even though the rich father didn't know it was his daughter, that would still get on your nerves.
Yeah, I think it would.
I can see both sides though.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's a film that it allows you to interpret it in different ways, which is one of the reasons I like it.
Sure.
Jumping back into the basement for a moment.
Okay.
Going off something that you said earlier, I've just written here in one of my notes just bitterness.
Okay.
Because
elaborate.
You mentioned earlier that obviously the poorer they were, the angrier they seemed.
Say that again?
The poorer they were,
yeah,
the angrier they seemed.
Okay. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Well, that's what you said.
Good job, mate. I don't think I said that.
But it was just interesting because it's the... You would have thought that the... Obviously all the poor people, so you got the poor family and then the two... Let's say the two that were living... I know it was only the guy that was living in the basement, but the two that were living in the basement and the poor family, you would have thought they were being sort of on the bottom rung of this ladder that is society.
Yeah.
You would have thought they'd have something to sort of team up for, and you know they have this common ground that, and like the positions that they're in. You would have thought that would make them, you know, allies in this sort of crusade against the rich, but it just, or feeling like you've got nothing. It just makes people desperate and it makes them bitter, and obviously they were all just out to fuck each other over.
I mean, at the party at the end, all the rich people were chilling together, they were fine, but then all the poorer people, is it offensive to call them poor people?
I mean, they were.
In the context of the movie, yeah. We're not like being nasty about it.
Yeah, we're just too lazy to learn Korean names.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But yeah, and I thought that when, after the initial conflict in the basement, I thought they were going to like team up and be like, let's take advantage of these rich people together.
Yeah. But
that didn't happen.
It was just a desperate situation for everyone, just trying to keep what little they had, or how much they could leech off these rich people. Did tensions rise for you when they were coming back home because camping was cancelled?
Oh yeah. I was like,
oh man, really?
Yeah, it was that tense. No, yeah. I mean, first off, let me just get this out of the way. The food she was cooking, that looked amazing. Like, give me some of that. But yeah, I found that kind of funny. Not funny. It was still tense, but like how they were like just shoving stuff under the sofa. That was like, obviously, surely they're going to see that. Especially when they're coming up the stairs and you can see...
There's a little window.
Yeah. But apparently they didn't. But yeah, that was pretty tense. Yeah. And then especially when he's under the bed and the dog's like whimpering.
That was a moment where I was like, oh, you got out of that a bit too easily. Just like she's about to look under the bed, but Mom's come up the stairs. Oh.
I thought she was going to see him and then be alright with it, and they were going to have like a romantic, like, yeehaw. I don't know how this stuff works.
Oh man. Yeah, I just love that. That's definitely the high point of the film for me. That whole
really,
just right from, I mean, going back a bit, but right from when the housekeeper turns up, going down into the basement, to then the family's coming back, like that whole, it just keeps getting worse and worse. It's just, it's tense, and then
I thought it was a bit predictable that they were going to come back, but I don't think it was supposed to be like a shock.
No,
maybe it was.
Not necessarily. Yeah, I mean probably, but I think when I first watched it as well, I think I was so wrapped up in what was already going on I didn't even think about the other family, and then it's like, we're coming home, make some ramen for us.
Well, I just thought, like, they're going on a camping trip, it's raining, put two and two together. They're rich people, they don't want to get dirty. In fact, yeah, why did they go on a camping trip? You'd think, like, they live this luxurious life, and then
He says that they always go away for his birthday now, ever since he had a seizure in the house on his birthday.
Yeah, but I picture rich people going on, like, fancy yachts or some second house, not a camping trip.
I think they're only going away for maybe they like camping. They might be going glamping. You just don't know.
Well, the tent that the dude had in the garden was pretty fancy.
That was a nice tent.
I'd stay in that, I guess. I don't know.
A bit that did make me laugh is when they're able to... The couple has fallen asleep on the sofa, so they're able to come up from out of the table. And Mr. Kim is just, like, worming across the floor. He just stops. And he's just lying face down on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's just...
Imagine that either of them had turned and just saw this, like, corpse just lying there. What they thought.
So that was funny.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, they get out of the house and it's pouring it down. And they go down.
Down.
To their house, and shit's fucked.
That's one way to say it.
It's awful.
Yeah. They left the window open. That was a big mistake.
And, obviously it's like the top boy can camp out in his garden. This horrible storm is going on. And down at the bottom, people have just, like, lost their homes.
Yeah. And they don't care. Well, the people who lost their homes care.
I mean,
the rich people don't.
The next day, the woman's on the phone just like, that rain was a blessing. Thank God for that rain. And then there's that shot of Mr. Kim. She's in the background. He's driving.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a meme.
I haven't seen that.
I think it's not like a funny meme. It's like a serious meme that I've seen on Twitter a lot. Obviously, just in this recent political climate. Don't want to get too political on this podcast.
Oof. We both have very strong political opinions.
We do. And we agree with you, listener. But yeah, people have used that image a lot of just like, oh, God, these rich people, fuck 'em.
That's
exactly the shot.
Wow. All of us with an unamused face, and then the woman, celebrities singing Imagine.
There we go. Perfect.
That's a funny one.
And topical.
So topical.
So we get to the end.
Oof.
Well, the end-ish.
It's a controversial topic, I would imagine.
So is Kevin going down there to beat that guy to death with that rock thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Why?
Obviously that doesn't work out.
No.
And the guy whacks him on the head with it and then fucking throws
Oh
him.
my God, that was... Yeah.
And I was like...
Brutal.
The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
Because...
I didn't even think about that.
He should be dead.
He definitely should be.
2 blows to the head with that thing. Blood pouring from his...
Yeah.
But he was fine.
Good for him.
He should have died, but he was fine. So, we've already discussed this a little bit, but do you think the violence at the end is justified?
No.
Because I know you don't think it is on Mr. Kim's end, but what about the rest of it?
I think it's a really fun scene to watch. Or
Fun.
Yeah, enjoyable.
I have a different take on this movie to
I thought it was
everyone else.
very enjoyable. It was like a fun end to the film.
We watched the same film.
Not fun in like, ooh, happy. Fun in like, this is enjoyable to watch. Like, yes.
Who are you saying yes for?
The audience.
Oh.
I enjoyed it as a viewer, but I don't feel...
As a climax.
Yeah.
It was good and fun. Thrilling to watch.
It was a fun climax. Yeah, it was thrilling. Yeah, it added a bit of something to the film that wasn't there before, but it didn't really feel like it fit with the rest of the movie.
I agree.
Damn.
I mean, I still enjoy, even though you didn't, I still like the fact that Mr. Kim stabbed the other dude. I thought that brief moment was justified, and I think it's all just in the acting and the direction of that moment where Mr. Kim. I think personally, to me, you can just see like it in his brain. He just like is like fuck this, and just makes that split-second decision to kill him. I like that brief moment.
Disagree.
But the rest of the scene doesn't entirely work for me. Like the guy just coming out of the basement and like grabbing the knife and like just on this weird rampage.
Yeah.
And then just how I mean, it was probably intentional, but just how quick everything becomes and like how chaotic it.
I couldn't keep track at all.
Yeah,
really.
It was. I'm not sure if it probably wasn't intentional, but I still don't think it quite worked, especially in relation to the rest of the film.
Yeah.
It just, didn't quite fit, in my opinion.
I feel like they could have foreshadowed it a bit somehow. They could have had him with a dartboard throwing darts at pictures of the family or something. That would have been a nice subtle detail.
That would have been subtle, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, I feel like there should have been something to show that he didn't really seem like a violent person. I know he was messed up in the head, but he didn't...
Or even just in the way that it was presented. They could have... I don't know, really. I just, something about it didn't quite gel.
Yeah, I think because it was so unexpected, in my opinion, that's why it didn't really work.
And I'm sad that the sister died, Jessica.
Well, don't be that sad. You know, it's the end of the film, so...
Alright, I shall not, then.
She was the bitch sister anyway, so...
She was...
No one cares.
My favourite character. But,
she deserved it.
And then...
They all deserved it.
Well, yeah. And then, nice callback to earlier in the film, because Kim obviously kills the dad, Mr. Park.
Let's not start using the names now.
And then he just he runs away, and it's kind of a nice callback to earlier in the film where his wife is kind of jokingly saying, "Oh, your dad, if there's any trouble, he'll run away and like a cockroach."
That's a fun detail.
And obviously he does do that. He runs away and...
But character development, he comes back.
Well, let's talk about the ending. The end ending.
Don't get me started on the end.
I don't quite like that either.
I strongly disliked everything. So everything past when he turns back, I don't like. So when he turns into the garage.
Turns into the garage.
When he becomes the garage. No, when he goes back into the house and he goes into the basement, everything past that point, I was just like...
Even before that, I don't like when Thingy wakes up, Kevin wakes up from his head injury, and suddenly we've got narration from him.
Have we?
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote it down, I put narration. So suddenly we're narrating. He has that strange quirk that he's like laughing at everything now.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a bit Joker.
Why is that?
Well, the doctor said that it sometimes happens after brain surgery. Not sure if that's true. It also seemed to be going on for quite a while.
Yeah.
But then it just suddenly stops as well, so it was kind of a strange detail to include in the first place. But I don't think the ending is real.
It's none of it's real. It's a film.
Alright. Wise guy. Well, actually, sorry.
What do you mean it's not real?
Well, I think it's real. Mr. Kim is in the basement. He is sending out that letter through Morse code. His son is writing him a letter in return, saying that this is my plan, I'm going to buy that house. I don't think the part where it shows you the house, what shows you him buying the house and the dad coming back out, I don't think that is real.
I think that's
Because
a dream.
after that, it cuts back to Kevin as he is in the present, sort of just writing the letter. So
What's the last shot of the film?
him in it's similar to the start of the film. It starts on the window, goes down, it's Kevin, he's writing the letter, and then it ends.
I thought it ended with them showing up to the house.
No, he goes out, they have a hug, and it does fade to black, but then it comes back up on that shot that I just...
That's an interesting theory.
Because if it is the actual end, like if that does happen, then I don't like it.
I don't like
Because
it
it's
either way.
too neat, too easy. It's like...
Why would they show it if it wasn't real? Just to confuse the audience?
No, I think just to... I mean, I don't know. But I think...
I feel like if it wasn't real, they would have made a bigger deal about it. There's no reason to be
Well, I think it's open for
vague about that. But there's nothing that opens it, really, I don't think.
I don't want to believe that it was real, because it's such an easy ending. It's like, the end of the film is that what he's really going to do, he's going to try hard, and he's going to make money, and he's going to buy a nice house. And it's like, well, if you could do that, why did I just watch this film where you could have just done that from the beginning? So I think it's like this idealised thing that he's got in his head. It's like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
As we've seen for the rest of the film, I don't think that's possible for them to do.
Okay.
That's why I don't want it to be the actual ending of the film, because if it is, it's just like, well... What?
I think it unfortunately is the actual ending of the film. I feel like they would have made more of an effort to show you somehow that it was like a fantasy. Maybe they would have shown a shot of his face at the end, like, you know, in the basement still, being all like, looking up, like, But, I mean, I didn't think about this at the time, but when you brought up the thing about where's the money going, I think my interpretation is that they were saving the money because they were used to not having any money, so they could just carry on living how they were. They're saving the money, probably a decent amount, probably not enough to buy a house, in that house as well specifically, but maybe it was going for a lot cheaper, right? Because murders. Yeah. So I think they saved the money and they bought the house because they didn't look that much older.
No, his hair, he had a pretty bad wig on, I think.
Well, it didn't look like crazy.
Which is another reason why I think maybe it wasn't real, because the dad comes out and he looks the same.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
He looks the same because it's like pretty soon after they buy the house with the money that they've been saving.
But that instead makes me think that that's a reason why it's not real. Because he's only imagining his dad in his head the way that he was the last time he saw him.
But can you see my view?
I can see both points, which is why it's a good film.
Crazy. Yeah, I can see both points, but I see mine more.
Well, but then also just aside from the debate whether it's real, is it not, who knows, I think it was just a bit of a drag, that whole ending, because it's he wakes up from the coma, then dad reads letter, son reads letter, and it was just like listening to them talk for a while.
It wasn't great.
Didn't find it particularly engaging.
I think under any of the interpretations that you could take from it, I don't think it's a good ending.
Yeah, which is a shame, because I think the rest of the film is top-tier film. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely a well-made, entertaining, good quality film, but I stand by that I don't think it should have won Best Picture. It deserves a nomination, and my cynical side tells me that they were like, oh, this is a good film, and it's foreign, and, you know, it'd be nice to have a non-English Best Picture for once. Maybe that's not the truth, but...
I disagree, but...
if it was English, would it have still won?
I don't think it would have been made if it was English.
Obviously, but if it... the same film, but in English, I don't think it would have won.
I do.
I don't.
Because I think the content of it... I mean, I won't lie, I don't think the win for it was entirely motivated by the fact that it was or was not the best film of that year. But I think it resonated with enough people. It was kind of hyped up.
Yeah.
Because of what it was about, and it kind of spoke to people in that way. I think that's why it won. I don't think it was necessarily because it was an international film and they wanted to appear woke.
Do you think, so we mentioned them at the beginning, you think this is a better film than...
Well, not Marriage Story, because I know that's in there, because Marriage Story is one of my favourite films.
So would you have put Marriage Story above this to win Best Picture?
Sure.
You know what my point is?
Yeah. You know, it doesn't really matter either way. I'm happy that it won. I'm glad it won, and I think it was well deserved.
Yeah, I don't think it's like undeserved by like a long way. I don't think it's undeserved. I think that there were better options.
I just don't think it matters either way, really.
No, really doesn't matter at all. It's a good film.
The Oscars is one of those things where I get excited about it every time it comes on, and then afterwards I'm like, didn't matter again. But they suckered me in.
Yeah. I don't care about the Oscars at all, so
all right, well,
there you go.
glad we just spent the last 5 minutes talking about it.
Alright, sorry.
Okay, well, looks like you're all done.
Well, my notes have been gone for like ages. So.
So that was Parasite, and I really enjoyed talking about it.
Yeah, I think we had a good discussion there.
Yeah.
Out of 42. No, I'm joking.
Are you gonna?
It's a fan favourite.
I don't even think we mentioned it in the.
Well, it had to have time to settle.
No, yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, another thing I quickly just wanted to ask you about was
Sure.
the music.
Didn't
you see it at all?
No.
No. Okay, well that's fine. I thought it was really good.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I usually notice music if it's good, but
it's interesting because both of my episodes now, I noticed how much I like the score in Man of Steel. You didn't like it. Well, you didn't notice it. You didn't notice it in this either. Sometimes think that you don't notice good music.
Well, I do. I noticed it in Spirited Away and Lost.
Alright, well, I think that wraps up our conversation about Parasite.
I think so too. Thanks for watching.
No.
Okay. Also...
So, Daniel, Halloween is coming up.
Certainly is.
Spooky season.
Absolutely, certainly is.
So, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to choose some things that fit in with that theme.
Halloween movies, or films, or TV shows. God damn.
We're so good at just letting each other talk.
Yeah.
So next week it's your turn to recommend something to me, so please.
Okay. So the film that I have selected for you to watch, the Halloween film, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now...
Isn't that more of a Christmas film?
No. It's actually called The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's definitely more of a Halloween film.
Well, being someone that hasn't seen it, I wouldn't know, so I trust you.
I can't believe you haven't seen it.
Daniel, that's the concept.
What? Well, it's lucky that the film I suggested you hadn't seen.
Alright, well, I'm looking forward to watching that.
Thank you.
Musical.
Sure.
And
is it?
Isn't
Jokes. Sure, I know.
And people like it, it's meant to be good. So
yeah, it's good.
that'll do us for this week.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Or watching if you sat there and watched the... Okay, sorry. Well, no, I was going... Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Okay,
Bye.
we'll start again. Thanks for watching.
We've already got it.
Oh, jeez. And thank you for subscribing, liking, following, retweeting.
All of those things. Give us a listen on Spotify.
Spotify.
We're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And follow us on Twitter at Can't Believe YHS. That's Can't Believe YHS.
Absolutely it is.
Is there anything else? Alright, well, cool. Next week, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Watch it.
That'll be
Feel it.
good. Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
Goodbye. I've been Daniel.
Oh, and I'm Daniel as well.